Hello Sharda, you did back Srishant to do well with the ball, but today surprisingly he did open today, but with the bat rather surprisingly. What do you have to say about his batting? 18 decent runs.
Yeah, he came in as night watchman, which is, I think, the main part of his work was actually already done the day before, that he was able to play out the number of overs that he had to and sort of ensure that, his team didn't lose another wicket. And because the rest of India were sort of a bit shaky, they were 60 for, they were sort of 1 for 0 when
Yeah, yeah.
he came into bat after Chikkar Dhawan got out for
Zero.
zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he played his part. I think yesterday more than today. What everyone expects of night watchman is 18 or 56 balls is a pretty good score for a night watchman, and he's that kind of guy who can actually get stuck in and hang around. And but against what quality of bowling he's able to do that, we have to see if he's able to do that in sort of, say, the bigger, higher form of the
Yeah, we
game.
remember him hitting Andre Nell for a six and then jumping around like a monkey
I think
few years
everyone
ago.
will remember him for hitting Anjaneyal for a six. I think, unfortunately, if his career doesn't go beyond what it should, international career doesn't go beyond what it should, people will remember him for that six, and they'll remember him for
Yeah,
his bowling in Johannesburg. And
that's true.
he'll never. No one can take that away from him.
About Harbhajan Singh, do you think he was a better spinner compared to Oja? You picked Harbhajan to do well.
Yeah, I thought he did better. I didn't thought he did sort of mega better. I didn't think he did. He kind of dominated. Or the wicket is not one where it's easy to get wickets
Right.
on, but just that whole business of being able to relentlessly put pressure on the batsman. I don't think he was able to do that for a long period of time. He had patches where he kind of, you saw sort of glimpses of the old Harbhajan just for a very brief sort of a flash. But to maintain that, I suppose it may take a lot more of effort and concentration, and which you didn't see. He does have 3 wickets, and Oja got a couple of the tail enders. But if I was a selector, I would be in a real jam at the moment.
Speaking
I
of
really would.
selectors, there's the Indian team selection coming up tomorrow. So, you think Harbhajan stands a chance over there? Do you think the rest, since he's the captain, he might try to bowl a little more tomorrow, put the opposition into bat if to boost his chances? Do you think there's a
I
possibility?
mean, I would actually, if he actually did that, he'd serve his own cause, because I think rest of India are now pretty much, this game is theirs. They're leading, their 400
Absolutely.
runs ahead, and Bombay are going to be struggling in this game. I think to try and win something back from it. So if he actually does that to try and get more wickets, it'll be a great sort of signal. But I have my doubts. I wouldn't sort of put money on it. I think it's a first class match. It'll just be allowed to drift away. I think that's the kind of hunger that selectors want to see. That as a player, have that kind of hunger to want to do well.
Talia thought Oja would probably do better than Harbhajan, given that Oja has a lot more international cricket behind him over the last year or so. So, I mean, that didn't really work out, right? Any messages for Talia? Any thought?
I think Oja sort of now reached a point where all spinners reach after their second year in international cricket. That people have seen them, they can read them, they've learnt everything that they have to know about. They know the tricks, particularly in. I mean, at first class level, batting against high quality spin bowling is not very common these days. But batting against sort of average spin bowling is not very difficult. So I think Oja should probably raise his game, try and get a few more tricks into his armory if he wants to be seen as a kind of a spinner that who has a spinner of presence. I think all the great spinners. What they don't have in pace and aggression, they have in sheer presence. Aggression. I'm speaking of sort of fast bowler type of
Correct, yeah.
aggression. So I think that's the kind of presence that Oja needs to establish, and I think Harbhajan in his best days had that. At his peak, he had that. He had that kind of presence. When he came, you knew that he was going to make something happen. I think
Right.
with neither of the two spinners, you thought anything was going to happen, no matter what the wicket was.
That's true.
Bowlers always complain about wickets being bad if when they don't get enough wickets. This is the pitches are not good and so on. But the great bowlers always find a way to get a wicket.
That's true. Great. Thank you so much, Shada. We'll catch you probably tomorrow again, end of the game, and also a little bit on the news about the selection that is due tomorrow.